What's up, guys? It is the Bad Wolf. Once again, your international man of mysteries, your man in black, and welcome to a great summer. It is hot, hot, hot. So, with that being said, I do want to issue you guys a warning. Be careful. I was out there myself and started to suffer from a little bit of heat stroke. Okay, so it is hot. Be careful out there. Make sure you drink your water, your Gatorade, take your electrolytes, whatever you need to do. Go to somewhere, I guess, where it's cool. It is no fun. All right. So once again, I don't believe in lying to you guys. I keep you guys in the loop, and all I can say is that it is no fun. Okay. So look out for the symptoms: over sweating, confusion, mumbling words, uh, overly tired. Just go and take care of yourselves, guys. Health first, as always. All right. Let's get into it. So, I want to thank everybody for supporting me, my website, my other website, the new one. Thank you for the donations, especially a shout out to Ramen and to all of the people who've sent me the donations of whatever varying amount. You can always do that and find more information on me on blacksite32.com. And hell, let's thank the haters out there. You know what's funny is all these little haters out there who want to try to challenge me, but don't want to go and challenge the system or the courts. See, I tell you guys and show you guys that I challenge and that I have people out there who've challenged them and win, but the haters want to challenge and bother me. So I guess that's a compliment. So I guess you guys fear me and my information and how I bring it to people more than the state and the government and the cabal and the elite who govern all of you guys. So I guess keep doing the work of the man. But what's also funny is that you guys don't realize that when you put me on your channels, even talking trash about me, it brings those people, your people who I probably never would have met, over to me, and they're making my numbers skyrocket because apparently they're liking something that I'm doing that you're not. So I guess it is what it is. With that being said, let's keep going. All right. So we have had lots of new victories. I mean, tons of court cases, tons of remedy, and it has been just amazing. I'm still flabbergasted. Yeah, I use that word. And amazed at how many of you guys come here, continue to listen, and email me, give me tips, tricks, inside information that I can then put on the YouTube channel. So once again, guys, it's not always in just me. It's people like you who are giving me information that I then research with them and put on this channel. So we are a community. We are a network. We are not against the government. We are not against police officers. We are not. We are against anybody, though, in my America. I don't care what position you have. I don't care if you were a traitor president or a traitor cop or a traitor judge or magistrate. If you are not in this country for the best interest of this country and its people and its infrastructure and its structure and its future, you are a traitor. That's who we're against. And if you're against constitutional rights and freedoms and liberties, once again, you are a traitor to this country and you are the enemy. I don't care what department, agency, or whatever else you're in. That is just a fact. Other than that, and understand this, we're not declaring war on you. We're just saying you're a traitor. That's all. We're non-belligerent, non-combatant here. All right. We don't have to put fisticuffs on you to deal with people like you. We can merely not operate with you and point out to everybody else who and what you really are and what you stand for. And you'll have a problem. Okay. That's all. Just saying. Take it how you want to see it. Not afraid to tell the truth here. All right. Well, at least as much as I can get away with telling, due to YouTube and whatever else. And, that also being stated, some people, are like, Wolf, how come you don't say it all? Well, one, some things you are supposed to do your own research and find because it is, in fact, private information. If you're seeing this video, this is a public platform. You can't give away everything private in the public. That's not how it works. And plus, some information that people give to me could be considered of a level that may or may not get me or YouTube or certain other people into trouble. And that is not what we're about here. Most of those things are things that, well, if you want them, you need to dig for them. All right. I had to dig for them, most of the information I've gotten. So it is what it is. And that is you learning to play this game. And believe you me, this is in fact a game. And you need to learn how to play your piece. I've learned how to play my piece correctly. Instead of James T. Kirk, a little off wild and ragged, you have to be patient, accurate, methodical, and victorious. Okay. So this particular video is about how to be tax exempt at your job or at your work. I've made other videos on this. I don't know why people keep hitting me up for this. I could just do consultations, but we will make a video so that people don't have to do the consultations on this. But before we jump into that, once again, thank you for all the people who donated and my Wolfpack followers, the people in the Telegram groups, people on my Facebook group, and the people on TikTok who support me over there. So yeah, that's awesome. Thank you guys. It is a pleasure and a wonder to have people like you want to listen to me and then listen and actually research me and the information and find out that, I mean, not so much even me, but just the information. I don't care about me. It's just the information I want you guys to have. And you guys use it and you guys are getting the results. I mean, I've spent 30 plus years studying all this information. And so for you guys to like, I'll give it a shot. Maybe this guy knows what you're talking about. See, if I wasn't, and I don't even like to toot my own horn this way. Yeah, I said toot. Um, if I wasn't doing something right, then all of these people, these other YouTube channels against me, you know, courts and these so-called armchair lawyers or attorneys out here trying to talk about me. But see, here's the thing, guys. I keep beating your bosses. I'm not worried about you. Why would I be worried about a lawyer or an attorney or any of that if I can beat you? I've already beaten the judges. I've beaten the courts countless times, and I've beaten other lawyers and attorneys. So why would I be worried? I'm not. I'm not saying I'm like the master guru. I'm just saying that I know how to play in your sandbox. And at the end of the day, it's not even really me beating you. It's we the people, the Declaration, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. All I'm using is what's already there. But where it stings them is when I read their books, and we can pan to the right here and see which ones I have. Hold on, I got to get the camera up. Some more of them, including these down here. These are all their books, and these are the superior books. A lot of these lawyers and attorneys don't understand that they're working beneath the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So if you're not teaching and using constitutional law, what are you doing? You're using something subservient. The inferior courts is what you guys are working in. You know who's not bothered by what I do? Federal court, Supreme Court, because I'm using their stuff. The lower courts are nothing but a group, a government allowed to be a government by the government with their consent. And guess who gave our government the ability to do what they're doing? We, the people. Private, and then you guys are operating in the public. But anyway, I digress. So before we get started, I do want to show you guys we're almost done. So here's a sneak peek at um, let's see here, what we've got going on. Some people have already been there. So I guess the secret is out of the bag. I mean, I kind of have been talking about it lightly. I just haven't made any formal work done and come take a look. Come hither. All right, so this, you guys should be able to see the screen since I get this out of the way, hopefully. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right. So you can now get here to the secret Badwolf website. I guess it's not technically secret, but I don't know, it kind of feels dirty and secret. By just typing in jamesclovett.com. All right, JAMES C, as in the letter C for cat, and then lovett.com, James C. Okay. And then up here you can see it's just James dash C VIBRANT dot Sellify SELLFY dot store STORE. It'll take you here. Once you're here, these are for the private. This is not for bar members. This is not for officials. This is not for public trustees. This is not for sovereign citizens, law enforcement, or anti-individual groups. All rights reserved. This is not for any of those types of people. This is private. All these people are public or they're against the government. So we don't want them using any of our information for such. We don't want people who are anti-law enforcement. We don't want law enforcement either. We don't want any people out here who are going to be using this information for ill purposes. All right. And also here, if you want to find me on other channels, my Patreon, my Facebook, my X. You know me on YouTube, but I have multiple channels. Don't forget to add me on Badwolf Unlimited and the Badwolf Media channel. Okay. On TikTok, here's that one. And you can find all of these. Also, this is my Instagram right here. You can also find all of these on Blacksite32 on my social media page. But anyway, let's get to it. So what we have now is the educational courses all for private people. All right. So how to protect your crypto, stablecoin, 401k, make that tax exempt, how to do it properly. For people who want to know educational information only on what I've learned about the firearm and how to make that potentially private. Court case breakdowns, okay, how to break down your court case. I teach you what I know about that. Secrets revealed, basically little things that I've learned over the years from insiders and whatnot. So this is that video. Everything I know about the IRS and how to deal with your debt, how to get rid of it, how to reduce it per their codes. Okay. Foreclosure. This has been a pretty big one as well. Mortgage fraud and information I've learned with the promissory note. This is how to deal with, build, and repair personal and business credit from an inside banker. Okay. One of a good friend of mine. How to deal with your right to travel court case. All right. If you're doing right to travel the proper way, this will teach you how to fight it and it ensures that you are doing it the right way. Naturalization, new ways, old ways, everything I've been able to find and learn, supported by court cases on how to naturalize and some of the techniques that have been, we'll say, forgotten or no longer put up there and how to do that, all those methods. As always, all this is education for the private, informational purposes and uses only. All right, basic and key points of a private trust, a revocable, irrevocable, business, religious, and how to ensure that your trusts are, any of them, done right if you're trying to make them private. Okay. Uh, this one is how to create your own micronation or an unincorporated association. EIN is optional. How to basically make yourself private in your own private type of governmental entity. All right, like a micronation, unincorporated, etc. All right, how to remove your property completely from the property tax rolls. This is something that we have worked that has been very effective. We are still rolling this out in the private. This one, we're still learning, but we have put together numerous packages that people have been successful with. I am now doing this for myself. So I am still critiquing and perfecting and tweaking the process. But other people, not the entire group yet, but they've been successful. Everybody's still tweaking the process. So I'm giving you this as a heads up of how we're running with this. But primarily, this one right here is the property tax exemption. So this one's asking or teaching you how to be exempt. All right, which is good, but this one is you asking for permission, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is doing it within their means. This one, we're teaching you how to remove it altogether. Okay, like a permanent solution, as long as you or people you put in place control and operate your real estate. Okay, your private property. So all of these are good. If you want to stay in the loop, you can click on this and sign up. Other than that, that's it. So kind of a longer intro, but I kind of figured this was going to be a good video. A lot of people are going to want to watch this one, so good to get that information out there. Once again, it's all private education and subject to your interpretation. So do your own research. We are not responsible for any materials, files, or videos you've seen here, public or private. Let's begin. All right. So in order to be tax exempt at your job, you have to first understand that there's no law, okay? There's no positive law that says you have to pay taxes. What the law basically states is that you owe taxes to the various government or governments if you essentially are subject to it. Now, who is subject? Well, if you're going around classifying yourself as a U.S. citizen on that application or whatever file or form you filled out for your job or whatever else, and you checked off U.S. citizen, then yeah, you owe taxes. You basically said, I'm a member of yours and I'm your property. If you check off the word other and either attach a sheet of paper with your affidavit or just write in, say you're from New York, so New Yorker or Californian, Floridian, you are then considered a Native American or a U.S. national, no matter what you look like, age, race, color, creed, sexual orientation, and whatnot, to be tax exempt and a private citizen. A U.S. national, per the IRS, is regarded as a non-resident, which means you're tax exempt. You are not a member of ours. You are not a resident or a resident of theirs to be taxed. However, that does not mean that you cannot still do taxable things like a 401k, stocks, bonds, certain crypto, whatever else. Those things are taxable because those are products of theirs, but you are not a product of theirs. Now, if you watch some of the videos on jamesclovett.com, you can learn strategies and techniques to possibly eliminate, reduce your tax obligations across the board with all of those things. Because per the IRS Internal Revenue Manual Code, okay. I believe we just returned back. Must have said something a little too jazzy in there. All right. Well, hopefully the video, I don't know, might have glitched. So if you guys see anything crazy, it is what it is. Um, but all right. I don't know. Computer just went all buggy for a moment. Must be the AI. Sometimes I feel like somebody's watching me. All right. So anyway, let's get back to it. So I don't know where the glitch happened in the video. So this might seem like I'm just starting now and a little crazy. Well, you got to be crazy or a madman in a little box. But once again, this video is about how to be tax exempt at your work. All right. So the first thing you have to understand is that taxation is optional under Internal Revenue Code or in the IRM manual, and the code is 25.1.1.3.3 under tax avoidance versus tax evasion. So what they're basically saying here is that you can reduce, minimize, or eliminate your tax obligation, but you must pre-plan. So when you go to your job, whether you're just starting or you've been working there for, I don't know, 20 years, 5 years, whatever, hell, a week, whatever it is, you have the right to update your taxability. Okay. So when you hear people talking about making a revocation of election, it means that the opposite then is to make an election. Revocation means to remove election. So then election must mean you elected to do something. So what did you do? You elected to be taxed. Because in the United States, you have two different things going on. You have a standing as a living real man who's tax exempt by your labor per the federal court and constitution. And then you also have a status, that of a U.S. citizen, which is generally taxable. You're a member, an employee, and a business of the United States Corporation under UCC 9-307. So you've just basically been doing something that you didn't realize that you didn't have to do. Now, in each state, your state, you have to do your own due diligence because just because you're exempt on the federal level does not mean across the board you're exempt on the state level. So you will have to go and check with your state to see if you're tax exempt. However, we now know basically how to make each one of us tax exempt for receiving money on the state level as well. So catch me for one of those videos or a consult. However, buying things is a different process. So there's another way to be tax exempt there. Essentially, guys, there's a way to be tax exempt across the board in almost everything as long as you guys know what you're doing. So, once again, let's get back to work. When you go to your job, you're going to need to go to your HR department or online, your portal. And what you're going to want to do is update your W-4. This is one of the old school standard ways. On the W-4, you're going to want to check off 0. When you check off 0, this tells them that they will be collecting no federal tax because it's an election. If you want to know off the books what's said about it, is that most of our tax actually goes as a tribute to England. Pip pip touraloo and all that then. But of course, yes, a good chunk of it also goes towards our defense and this and that and whatever else. However, the government is already making tons of money off of other businesses and entities. Moving forward. So yes, marking 0 on I think it's either 4A or whatever the tax line is on your W-4 is what then puts you on the IRS's 0 file list, makes you tax exempt. You're considered a U.S. national, which is considered to be a non-resident for tax purposes. Sure, they're not going to come out and tell you, oh, hey, yes, just here's how you do it if you don't want to pay us. They get paid. Of course, they're going to use obfuscation. Oh, there it is, guy. Some guy made fun of me because he was like, oh, you couldn't pronounce obfuscation right. Well, in all actuality, even though I seem very polished, I actually do have a speech impediment and I do stutter. So thank you to the guy out there who wanted to make fun of me because I talk with a lisp sometimes or I couldn't pronounce a word. If you want to know the truth, this is why my mother put me in kindergarten. She put me in French speaking class so that I could learn to speak another language to help me speak better. So yes, if you like to make fun of people who have handicaps, that's pleasant and cute. Look at you, Mr. Big Guy. Let's get back to it. So once you click whatever portal you have to get to your W-4, you're going to click, I think once again, it's 4A. But it'll be your tax line. It's the one where you have to choose 1, 2, or 3. What they don't tell you is that as a default, on almost all these documents where they give you a number or something to select, if you put 0, you're claiming the base, which is common law, which is you being a private citizen and a national. Because they always have to provide a remedy, but they do not have to tell you what the remedy is or how to find it. If you want it, you have to dig for it. And that's why I said at the beginning of this video, some things are private, but then some things can be put into the public because, well, this is just education. If you don't believe me, you don't have to use it. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. At the end of the day, you have to do your own research. All I can tell you is that thousands upon thousands of people are very happy with my work, and there's a couple hundred who aren't. Probably the people who are making less money because of my videos or getting less YouTube likes or subscriptions or whatever else. Not my problem, not my fault. Get your game up, like your hate. All right, so what else do we have? Obviously, the classic is the W8BEN. You fill that out per my videos that I've already made. So if you haven't seen those, as always, type in on YouTube or find my channel, James C. Lovett or the Badwolf and W8BEN, and you'll find those videos and my playlist on how to fill that document out. You submit that. Now remember, your employer should not be denying you the ability to submit any information unless he or the legal department at your job consider it to be illegal or fraudulent. And they are not. They're just feeling some type of way sometimes. Well, we don't know what this is and we don't want to get in trouble. Then tell them you will sign a waiver relieving them of any liability for what you're doing. If you're grown and you believe in this information and you've researched it, then you should have no problem doing that. Relieve the company of that if they feel that you need to do that. However, if they don't and they still want to ignore, your next option, and I have more options after this, would be to then sue them. Now, of course, we don't necessarily want to have to do that. We've been trying to be very non-confrontational when it comes to this information. But some jobs, they're denying you of your rights. You're going to sue them in federal court over it. Denial of your rights and privileges as a national under 8 U.S.C. 1503. All right, that's how you do it. If, however, you want to be go the easy route and be the nice guy, then if they don't accept the W8BN, that's fine. Um, some people can and will and have submitted a W4, and we have videos on how to fill a W4 out. Some people, some HR departments don't like that, so they will opt, and I've been informed of this by HR departments, that some of them will take the 673. Now, the 673, they're going to tell you, listen to the key words, primarily is used by military people. Why? Because military people are saying, hey, look, I'm not a member of yours when I'm operating in this military capacity and I'm generating compensation, and it should not be taxed. If I'm not a member of yours, I'm not subject to your tax for your people. So don't let them fool you and say, oh, well, you're not military. This is only for military. It's stating that you are operating in a private or foreign capacity. If you didn't know this, the United States is foreign to the United States of America. The corporation is foreign to the land legally and lawfully. It's foreign. Doesn't mean they're not in the same family, but if I wasn't born as a Johnson and my last name is Lovett, is it Lovett? Maybe. And I'm hanging out at the Johnson party and I got a Johnson shirt on, people are going to think I'm a Johnson. But blood wise, I'm actually foreign. But if we start having to fight the Smiths, because the Smiths are always starting some shit, then I'm going to be fighting on the side of the Johnsons. And I'm an honorary Johnson. I'm an honorary member of, here's that word, the Johnson family. So utilize the 673. Now, some employers will accept a 1040V, but they don't have to. Another thing is that you guys can operate yourselves as a 1099 for your company. All right. What is it, the W9? W9 and the 1099 contractor. You can fill those out where they don't take out any taxes. And then you yourself must fill out a W8BN. Okay. And some companies have taken this, but if not, the IRS takes it. And if you're going to do a 1099 or W9, then you would want to fill out a 15103. 15103 is really the true revocation of election for the IRS. Years ago, people started using the W8BN to send in, which is okay, but they don't really want it. The proper form to do a revocation of election is the 15103, and you fill out the first and third sections per the video that I have titled James C. Lovett, Badwolf, how to properly fill out the 15103. So those are going to be your primary ways to do the tax exemption at your job. Now, the bonus round for your police officers and whatever else who've contacted me doing consultations privately because they don't want their chief or their CO or whoever else to know. That's fine. I'm not going to bust you guys out. You guys are my friends. You guys are also nationals when you're in the private. All right. So, all right. Just making sure the video's been acting weird lately. Um, so you guys and This also goes for people who none of the previous things have worked at your place of employment. Now, if they fire you because you've done this or you're attempting to do that, it's a lawsuit. So give them good remedy to say, hey, look, I don't want to have to sue you over wrongful termination and denial of rights and privileges as a national under 8 U.S.C. 1503 in the federal district court. So I would like to work this out with you, but if not, that will be my only remedy. Okay. Now you're not going to make any friends there, but they're also not there to be your friends. So it is what it is. We've already had people win their employment lawsuits. So employers, I know some of you guys watch these videos too, you're not going to get into trouble by accepting the any form and that they submit to be tax exempt unless it is clearly fraud and you can clearly identify it because you feel you don't understand this is not by law a right for you to do. You must have you or your HR or whoever department contact the IRS and verify whether they can or cannot use it. And they're going to tell you, yes, they can use it. And if we, the IRS, I'm not them, find it to be fraud, we will go after them. Now, if you know that something that they did is 100% fraud, then really you should be calling the police. So if you're going to fire them, but then not call the police and say, hey, this is fraud, whatever else, then there's a problem there. You just feel some type of way. You haven't validated that. And that's when your employee can come after you. So you need to accept it. However, keep in mind, if you're like a CDL bus driver or a police officer or a sheriff or a lawyer or attorney or any of that, you cannot use any of those methods we just talked about. You are commercial, you are public. So, this next segment that I used to do just exclusively in the private for those people, we're going to give away here. All right. So this is for all of those police officers who contacted me, police officers and law enforcement who are good guys, good women on my side. You guys are nationals, you guys are Americans. This is for you guys. All right. This is what your job is not going to tell you. This is a private thing technically. So this is we're going to call this education. Do your own research for legal purposes, you know. This is also for the people who have been not successful and using the W8BN, the 673, the 1040V, the 8233 is another file that you guys, some people, employers will use, or any of those methods. This is how you guys can do it. Remember, the IRS said it's legal to not pay taxes for everybody, all U.S. citizens. So even those people who are supposed to be taxable, here's how you deal with it. You ready? Dramatic pause. Should I stop the video and say to be continued? No, I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not a dick. At least well, sometimes I guess I can be. All right, here it is. So legally, what you then have to do now, this is see this part right here is if you guys could find a private like attorney, they would tell you this, and they would charge you probably $2,500 to $5,000 for this bit of information. All right. I'm giving it to you guys for free, so make sure you guys hit that bell, like, and subscribe. Giving away some of the tea, so they say. What you need to do is create a private trust. Now, Wolf, why do I need to create a private trust? What is a private trust? Where do I get a private trust? All right. And why does this work, allegedly? Well, the IRS, per their tax avoidance code, states that you need to pre-plan. All right. So we're pre-planning. Now, this doesn't mean that you're already at your job and you can't do this. This just means that you can't just stop paying taxes at work. By listening to what I'm saying, you are pre-planning. So what? Yeah, exactly. Should they listen to me? Okay, does that. So what you need to do is create a trust. All right. And not just any trust. You want to create a private irrevocable trust. Once you create this private irrevocable trust, and Wolf, whoa, what is this other stuff? Where can I get one? What do they cost? And what else should I know about it? All good questions. Let's get to it. So a irrevocable trust, first of all, a trust is a entity or a legal person. Now remember, they said you as a U.S. citizen, especially you police officers out there, cannot get out of paying taxes because you have to be a U.S. citizen. You are in the public. You are a public trustee, which means you take orders. Keep that in mind. And that you are taxable. That is the law. That is a law. But the average person like you and me have a U.S. citizen side, but we also have a national side, which means you as a cop do too. But you can't use your private side when you're at work. We normal people can. You have to be a U.S. citizen. And under, if you don't believe me about the U.S. citizen being separate than a U.S. national, go to 8 U.S.C. FAM 301.1-1 letter B on the Department of State's website, and you will see that it says in the United States there is a difference between citizenship and nationality, but we get both. But they're two separate things. But you get them. You get both of them. This is what they're not telling you. Hey, police officers, please use your brain here. Why do you think that certain people that you guys all know about, you guys refer to as private citizens, and they just want to be left alone? You guys have all heard that term. These are the things that you guys know. I've got cops who are friends. I was going to become a cop. I was going to go into law enforcement, all the good jazz, and military intelligence. So I know a little something about something. You're not going to hear this at work, but you know who does know some of this is your commanding officer, your chief of police, and some of the older veteran officers on there, but they're not going to tell you because that's considered private until you've been there long enough for your buddy buddy. So you can listen to some of them tell you don't listen to people like me, but I guarantee you some of them are getting their whole paycheck and you're not. They're not going to tell you who's the now. All right. So an irrevocable trust is a legal person. You, as a U.S. citizen, are considered your name in all capitalized letters on the state level and lower is considered a legal person. On the government level, your name in all caps is actually you. But your name in all caps is a legal person on the state level. 95% of everything we do on a daily basis is on the state level. So the states have created a PMA, Private Members Association, whereby your name in all capitalized letters following the GPO capitalization rules is a legal person. You can also find it in the UCC book under UCC 1-201, letter H, conspicuous format, meaning the capitalization of your of lettering is in fact a legal person in a commercial use or term. Also in Black Law's dictionary under capitis dimitio maxima, Latin, for a capitalization to raise higher and capitalization to make money on of your name is a maximum loss of your rights and privileges. You've become a member. That's why they give you employee numbers, but your name in all caps is also, look at your badge. Yeah, I had a cop do that to me before. Is a legal person. It's a dead thing. Why do you think it's on tombstones? But I digress. Let's get back to it. So that's why they have you cops put the names on tickets in all capitalizations. Try putting the name. No, don't do this. Cops do not do this. Just education. Try putting that name in all lowercase lettering and watch your commanding officer or somebody in the legal department. If they see it, freak the out because you've voided the ticket. Can't do it. You guys can't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Every time I tell people not to do things on here, like the one cop, guy was becoming a cop, said, "Don't do this," and he did it, and he found out. He's still good. He still became a cop. So I got at least one additional person on the inside. Um, so an irrevocable trust is a legal person, and it is looked at as no different than you or me in the flesh and blood, but it's not. It has the form of a man. That's what a trust is, but it has pockets. It has a backpack. It can carry things, and it's carrying your compensation. So when you say that you're a U.S. citizen, by checking it off, and then you give them your name in all caps. They put your name in all caps. You enter it into the system, and you don't know how to properly. Well, you guys as cops cannot do it in the first place. You're taxable. That's it. You can literally look it up. A U.S. person is a U.S. business is considered a U.S. person is considered a U.S. business, which means that you're a business, and the business isn't living. No business is living. So if a U.S. person is considered a business of the United States, then guess what? Your name in all caps is a business. You can look it up on Cornell Law EDU. Oh, by the way, hi, Cornell Law EDU. I know you guys watch my stuff. Um, so now that you know that a trust is a person, a revocable trust is generally looked at as domestic, and an irrevocable is looked at as private, and private means foreign. So if you create an irrevocable trust, irrevocable means non-changing. So once you create this, you cannot change any aspect in the trust. So be careful when you draft it or get it drafted. If you want mine version, then you can go to Black Site 32 and go to the file shop, and there's an irrevocable trust and business trust and everything private that you need. Okay. Okay. Living in the private. So you as a U.S. citizen, law enforcement, and whoever else, this goes for the regular people out there as well who've had problems becoming tax exempt at their job. If they don't give you any other workaround, here is the final line in being tax exempt. So this works for law enforcement, agents, and also regular nationals who are being denied at their job the ability to be tax exempt for your compensation. See, when you generate your compensation, it's like this Mobius of compensation, but it doesn't become taxable until it hits something, or it doesn't become tax exempt until it hits something. So it's like a stem cell. When you generate money, this compensation, it's a stem cell of credit. And until it hits something, it doesn't become labeled as something. So when it hits you as a US citizen, it becomes a US citizen. A US citizen is taxable. If it hits something tax exempt, like a private irrevocable trust, which is a legal person recognized within the United States of America, so they have to deal with it. They don't like irrevocable trusts. But once you create the trust and the compensation hits it, it becomes tax exempt because that entity is tax exempt. So stem cell hits tax exempt cell becomes tax exempt. Okay. This can also be done by you creating a tax exempt faith based organization, or an FBO, which is a church, but not a church like a 50 like a 501c3. Those work too, but and you can be fine with that. But the better version is the 508c1a. Okay. Now, the key takeaways here is that when you create either your religious entity, your religious trust, or your irrevocable trust, you want to name that entity not your same name. Okay. Needs to be something made up, something that's not already in the system. Because if the name that you use for your trust is already in the system, then the state or the government can say, well, if you called it James C. Lovett and your name is James C. Lovett, we can find James C. Lovett in our computer system as a taxable voter registered, then we can tax you too. So your trust is not really private. So you have to create a completely fictitious, made up new name for your trust or faith-based entity. Once you've done that, the next thing you're going to want to do is get an EIN for it as tax exempt. And you're going to want to watch my video on how to get a tax exempt domestic EIN. All right, so go and watch that video. You're then going to take the trust name and make the same name for the EIN, the same things. This is then forming joinder. They become one. Now your private tax exempt irrevocable trust, or religious entity, your FBO 508C1A, all of which these files are on Black Slide 32. Once you have created the entity, you got an EIN, same name, joinder, you only need to do one or other. Some people are religious, so use that one. If you're not religious, irrevocable trust is fine. Once you've created that, you then want to go out and get a bank account with that trust. Okay. Get the trust notarized at the bank. Tell them you want to open up a new checking account with this name and EIN. Okay. Then you're going to go to your HR department and you're going to say, I want to update my information. It's like, great. What do you want to update? You're going to say, well, I'm going to continue working here, but I'm going to gift my paycheck, 100% of it, to a tax exempt church, faith-based organization, or to an irrevocable trust with this name and this EIN. You have just utilized the law the correct way to be tax exempt because you're still working there as a U.S. citizen, but there's no law that says you cannot gift or donate your check 100% to a tax exempt entity. Now, if it just so happens to be that that tax exempt entity has a bank account, an EIN, and you can then pull money out of it, that, my friends, is what the wealthy people calls a pass through. That is also what the IRS refers to as pre-planning to reduce, minimize, or eliminate your tax obligation. This is what I teach in the private. This is what multimillionaires have consulted with me to learn. Those who didn't learn it, I thought most of them knew, but apparently not. Um, this is some of the information that they don't necessarily want you to know. Why? Because they like you guys sitting back and being milked like cows and sheared like sheep and whatever else. But here's the thing. Now you understand that even with the W8BN or whatever else, you can adjust, minimize, reduce, or eliminate your tax obligation. Now, there's a different way to do it for the state. I usually just tell people to pay the state, give them their little $200 or $300, whatever it is. It's not usually a whole lot. Just go ahead and pay that. But yeah, some people do want to avoid that. So be looking for that video in my private videos. I will probably make one. Matter of fact, I'll make a note right now. It'll be labeled something like how to be tax exempt on the state and how to buy things tax exempt. I'll make that particular video, put it over there as well. Um, so that is how you do it, guys. So if you guys need guidance, especially if you're law enforcement, whatever else, contact me. We can do a consult and let me know who you are so I know how to deal with it because you guys have to be careful because you do not want to just tell your HR you're tax exempt and then they stop taking it because you will be hit. CDL, same thing. You're commercial. If you're commercial and you're in the public, if you're in the public and you deal with the public, you cannot just stop paying taxes. But we, getting our jobs as regular people, can do that because we're not obligated to the public for anything. You guys have the power within you, but you've sworn that I'm a U.S. citizen in public office, subject to the public. So there is a law that says those types of people in positions, jobs, employment are in fact taxable, have to be. That's the law. And I'm not going to help you guys break the law, but I will show you guys legal methods to sidestep it financially for tax purposes. Just be okay. So that's it, guys. So once again, if anybody needs consultation on that, if you have a problem that you think I might be able to figure out, I definitely will take a look at it. Just let me know. I want to do a consultation. You can give me a heads up to say, hey, I have this situation going on. If it's court related or like some type of matter like that, then that is a different cost. That is a court case, and there's a different cost for that. All right. So don't try to do a regular consultation and get me to do some extra stuff because you know what? If you went to a private attorney or regular lawyer, whoever else, you would end up paying $2,500. So charging 550 or whatever my current price is, which is always reasonable compared to the professionals, even though I'm as good as them, if not better in many ways. Um, we ain't playing that. Homie, don't play that. So that's it, guys. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching the video. Like I said, if you need help with any of that stuff, let me know. Otherwise, all the files and videos are right here for you guys to use. So I highly suggest you guys educate yourself because they're not going to do it. Why would anybody in their right mind want to help you make money legitimately or keep your money when that can go to them or their bosses? Why would they ever tell you the truth? See, the elite out there have everybody so wrapped up in man versus woman, boy versus girl, black versus white, red versus blue, police versus people, blah, blah, blah. They get you guys so wrapped up in that BS that you guys start to become that character and you start to forget that we're all just people having a human experience. And if we can help each other, cool. If you don't, but hey, if you wholeheartedly want to work for the elite indirectly and be against me and freedom in America, that's your right. That's the beautiful thing about here. And it ain't gonna hurt you none. Might cost you some down the road, but it ain't gonna hurt you none. So do what you want to do. But that is it, guys. Those are all of the methods to being tax exempt at your employer. Now let me check my secret book of secrets just to make sure if there's anything I might have missed. Nope, that should be it. For those people also having IRS problems and issues, I do have, like I said earlier, an IRS video on jamesclovett.com. And otherwise, we can do consultations privately, entertainment purposes only. Otherwise, guys, enjoy yourself, enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. I will talk to you guys later. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Be safe. And the Bad Wolf is out without a doubt, like a scout on a new route. All right. So don't forget to hit that bell, like, and subscribe, and welcome to the tribe. Appreciate you guys.